Hey everyone, welcome to Gen 80 Talks with myself, Hats, and my wonderful co-host, 𝗪𝐸.
Hi, thank you. In this podcast, we're going to be tackling different topics that it has to do with life, success, failures, and everything in between. We're going to be talking about relationships, love, family, careers, etc., and all the challenges that we face in this life that we're living. So stay tuned, subscribe, and join the conversation.
Yeah, so sit back, relax, and enjoy today's episode.
Okay, so episode 1. So in the previous episode, we talked about who we are and what we wanted to do a podcast.
Yep.
Where we talk about worthiness and what it's like to be growing older, or growing up, or growing older, growing wiser, from the generation of the 80s, which we're both part of. Same year, 85. Ooh, ooh.
Yep. Indeed.
Yeah. I mean, self-worth, and we want to talk about what is self-worth for either of us, right? Because that's how we started connecting. That's how we bonded over Instagram, which is super rare because think about it. People before didn't have social media. How did they bond it?
I'm going to be honest.
Yeah.
I think social media is...
Shit?
No, I don't think it's shit. I think it's taken over people's lives very rapidly. And it really is dangerous. Like, I think it's dangerous, really. I'm speaking from experience, from my own experience. I think it's dangerous because you tend to revert to social media as your default thing to do.
To numb. It's a numbing mechanism. For many people, social media becomes the way they seek validation and they seek numbing so they don't have to deal with their own life or the real life, right? Because also social media is everything glitzy. I
mean, look, don't get me wrong. I think social media is it has its positives too. You know, you can reach out to people, etc. And this is pretty much why we're doing what we're doing as well, because we're going to put it on social media. But I think also, and again, I used it. It contributed towards. I don't want to say I reached depression when I went through my issues, but it contributed towards me falling deeper and deeper into that, because all you see is like happy people all the time. It's always just like positive. We hear this all the time. Yeah. And if you're not careful and if you don't know how to switch off, it can really have an effect on you.
See, I would totally agree with that, because I remember when I had Matthew, my eldest, and I went through the horrendous postnatal depression. One of the things that was a huge trigger for me was that I was struggling with motherhood so much. And I was like, I was so disconnected from him and from the whole journey as a mother and stuff. And then when I would turn to Facebook, all my friends were having kids. Well, not all my friends, but a lot of my friends were having kids at the same time. And they had it nailed, or it looked in social media like they had it nailed down, you know. They had the perfect hair, the perfect photos, everything. And here I was thinking that I really wanted to just leave my baby behind and move to a nunnery in Argentina. Fun fact, is totally true. I actually sent several emails about that. So I think it could be a great trigger. But going back to worthiness, I think it's all related to that, because for many of us, particularly our generation, right? We grew up with a shift in the way we saw ourselves and we saw our role in the world thanks to media. We started to see in sitcoms, and we started to get more into this whole American style high school cool kids vibes, you know? That affected us deeply because we were either the underdogs, the losers, or the cool kids. So our sense of worthiness began to be reshaped in a way that maybe previous generations didn't have. I don't know, because I'm not from a previous generation, you know. So now social media, which we are not so used to as the younger generations are, has become a huge, like a huge roadblock to our happiness, because we're constantly seeking validation there. So instead of going inwards, wow.
Sorry, my mind's wandering.
Tell me.
I'm thinking, do you remember the first phone you ever had?
Yes, I do. A Nokia, the ones that have the little game with the
snake. Yeah, snake.
But after a certain level, it was impossible because the snake will move and it will eat itself.
No, you just weren't very good. What was your highest score? Do you remember?
I have no idea. I don't know.
No, okay.
But you remember you could actually change the face?
Yeah.
I had the coolest face. It was like a blue.
Was yours black and it wasn't like colored?
No.
That was the next generation Nokia.
Hello, I was poor. Dude, that was poor.
No, that was nothing to do with being poor. I had a Nokia 6310. I had a Nokia 3310.
How did you know the
and a
numbers?
3210. Of course, I remember these things. It got stolen from my bag outside swimming training when I was about 14, I think.
Do you want to know the coolest phone that I ever owned? That I was like, save money, and I was like desperate for it.
What's that?
Do you remember that we have the StarTAC? Like,
What's that?
the Motorola StarTAC. They would close like that.
The Razor phone.
No, the Razor came afterwards. So the StarTAC was before. I wanted a StarTAC, but my mom wouldn't buy it because I still have my Nokia, and my mom was like, the Nokia is working, so keep on using it. And then finally the Razor.
That was my next phone, the Motorola.
So I had that Razor in pink, just the same color as this phone.
That's really cool.
And I was like, finally, I arrived. And like 15 minutes later, the screen broke because the screen, remember, if you fell in certain angle, it was like, no. And my mom was like, I told you you shouldn't have ever let go of the Nokia.
So the same issues we were having with phones 20 years ago, we're still having with phones today because screens are still breaking.
Okay, it's not 20 years ago. It
was 20 years ago.
No, it was not. I was 20.
Okay,
it was
15 years ago.
17. No, 15 years ago.
Yeah, okay, still a long time.
So
it's crazy.
Right?
That's crazy.
Anyways, so back to self-worth. So I define self-worth as this inner understanding that no matter where you are, no matter what's happening with your life, and no matter how dissatisfied you might be with your circumstances, you are still worthy, you're still lovable, and you're still worthy of love, connection, and belonging. You know, to me, self-worth is when I say I am not where I want to go, or I am not what I want to be, but I am still lovable. You know, and I think that to me it's such a powerful concept because never in my life had I ever felt lovable. Like all my life, I always felt that if I lose the 5 kilos, if I had a boyfriend, if I got married, if I had top marks, if I had the job, if I made the money, there was always an if. And once I reach if, then I will be worthy. So I was constantly, I call it, with my clients, I call it hustling for self-worth. It's
but worthy of what?
Love, connection, and belonging.
From who?
Well, exactly. That's a brilliant question because it's from yourself.
Okay.
So when you arrive to this sense of, I might be on my own against the universe, you know, I might not be loved by others, but I love myself and that's enough. To me, that's self-worth.
Yeah, but you see, growing up, you might have that, you might love yourself as you are, but you still have the pressures of other things happening around you, which doesn't allow you to be happy. But
that's the thing. To me, when you're anchoring self-worth, when you love, truly, unconditionally love yourself, with no boundaries, with full abundance, even when you're facing external disconnection, you can navigate it from a place of safety. Let's say that I'm going through a breakup. Like, let's say that I'm 20 and I'm going through a breakup.
Okay.
So my brain is underdeveloped. Let's just start there. But beyond that, let's say that the way my parents raised me, I always felt loved and I always felt that I belong to myself. Because that's the thing. The concept of self-worth is above and beyond, I belong to myself first. I am safe within myself.
Okay.
I have within myself everything I need to feel loved, right? So let's say that I'm going through a very difficult breakup. Through the breakup, I can say this is painful, I am in distress, and I know I'm going to get to the other side. That to me is self-worth. When I know that I am going through hardship and I'm going to come out of the other side because I have all the tools that I need to. And that doesn't mean that I don't need a therapist or that I don't need maybe even meds. It means that within me, there's an unconditional source of love. So for example, I don't know if, we have all gone through breakups, so we will talk about that a little bit previous time. I remember breaking up with I was engaged a long, long time ago, and I remember breaking up with him and feeling, I'm going to die. I'm going to die and nobody else will ever love me. And as long as nobody loves me, I'm negative. I'm nothing.
Yeah.
You know, I'm fat. I'm not pretty. I am unattractive. Who wants to be with me? I'm awkward. I talk too much. Like I am less than zero, right? Obviously, there was no sense of inner safety. There was no sense of inner worthiness. So I was whenever I was seeking validation externally that I was worthy, that I was valuable, and that I was lovable, right? So whenever that thing went away, I was like, I'm dying, right? Whilst now I face rejection every single day. I face people on the internet telling me that I'm fat and that I'm the same things that I would tell myself 10 years ago. They tell me.
But
I go, okay, that's interesting. And that doesn't mean that sometimes it doesn't burn, because it does burn. But I go, yeah, but I belong to me. I am within me. I'm safe. I'm loved. And this is the shift for me. This is when I went from hustling for self-worth to the if I lose the weight, if I to the no, I'm cool. I'm lovable. That doesn't mean that I look at myself in the mirror and I'm like, oh, girl, you're so fine. Because it doesn't happen every day.
No,
Some days it does happen. Some days I do wake up and I say,
I'm going to be honest. Some days I look at myself and I think, man, you're looking good today.
Right?
So, yeah, but that's a good feeling. And if somebody comes up to me, I was in the restaurant. We have a canteen on site. The guy's Turkish actually, and I walk in and he said, "Oh, Hatim abi," and he said, "Oh, çok şıksın bugün," and I was like, okay, I forgot my Turkish at this. I was like what? And he's like, "Çok şıksın bugün," and I'm like, "Şıksın?" He's like, "Chic, and you look chic." Chic is in French is chic.
like, glam,
and he was like, "Yeah, you look very good today." And I was like, "Oh man, thanks." Now I have the salad and the chicken.
Can I have my food, please?
Yeah, and just fill up my plate.
Because I look good, man.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, but it's true. Yeah.
But and that's the concept that many of us are struggling with. Is basically to say you might not get the job or the promotion that you're looking for. You might not be making the seven figures or the six-figure income that you're dreaming of. That does not take away from your worthiness. Like I say to my clients always, worthiness or unconditional worthiness is like your blood type. I can drain you dry and I'm still gonna have to put the same blood type for you to survive, Just like we were worthy of love, connection, belonging, happiness, and everything as babies, we are today. We just forget. And when we forget, we start hustling. So I become the person that I will be very, very nice to you so you love me. I will be the friend that will sort out everyone's problems so they love me. But my friends will love me no matter what. The issue is not them. The issue is me.
We were talking about validation.
Yeah.
And I kind of said to you, we're all sort of wired slightly differently, right? So, and that's probably all connected to how you were brought up and what you were like in your environments and stuff like that. I feel more worthy when I get those kind of little bits of validation, So whether it's a good appraisal at work and there's some good feedback from a client, all of a sudden it gives you that sort of injection of, okay, you know what? You're good at what you do. You are worthy of that praise. You've been working hard. You deserve it, sort of thing. But you see, sometimes if you don't have that, it's really hard to remember that you're what you are, you're worthy of,
Yeah, and that's why likes become so addictive, right? When we're talking about followers, likes.
Exactly.
But that's the thing. So the
But
game,
you shouldn't have to want that to feel worthy.
Exactly. Because that's when in romantic relationships, we start to be very needy. We become really, really needy and annoying. And the other person either gets tired or gets triggered. Because most of the time, our partner doesn't get tired. They get triggered on their own side, right? And then we start to feel like, and this is, again, we were talking about that, and we'll discuss this further later, but I tend to be more of an anxious ambivalent, which is also called a maximizer or a pursuer. So I will be like that. I will be like, baby, but do you like my hair today, baby? Baby, you didn't tell me if I look pretty. But baby, you like the food, baby? And it's this neediness. And the neediness comes from an inner wound that tells me I am only worthy if outside tells me I'm worthy. Mm-hmm. When we talk about self-worth, we go beyond that and we say, I am worthy because I exist. I am worthy of love, connection, attention, safety, because I'm alive. It's like, just because I breathe, I am worthy. And when you are shifting into that, neediness diminish a lot. And then maybe you might seek like an honest assessment. Like I said to you before, do I look tired? Do I look really tired? Should I put some makeup or something? And you were like, no, you look fine. Because I don't have any makeup on.
I didn't say you look fine. I said you do look tired.
You do look tired, sure. You did say I look tired. But you do okay.
What did I say?
That I look okay. That I was okay.
Yeah, you look fine.
Exactly, right?
You don't.
So am I sick for that? Should I do something with? But I'm not gonna be like, but tell me what looks nice. But
yeah,
you know what I mean?
You really need to go and put on some foundation and some concealer and maybe you know, some.
You're trying to think. What else makeup do I know?
Yeah, no.
Blush.
I was going to say blusher, but I was going to say, you know, you might need to do some like sort of
contouring?
There's kind of, what they call them. You put those cucumbers on your eyes and stuff.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to do that one as soon as we finish this.
But we don't have time for all of that, so it's probably, you look fine.
But what I mean is that we are all gonna, not all of us, but the majority of the population is gonna seek external validation because we are thirsty from it.
That's a natural human, what's the word? I wouldn't say need, but it's a natural human expectation, no?
Yes, but the thing is that we shouldn't depend on it.
Of course.
When we really connect to unconditional self-worth and to unconditional worthiness, and when we really say, I'm worthy because I belong, then I don't need you to tell me that I'm pretty. Because being pretty is no longer even in my, it's not even in my radar. I don't need my partner to tell me that he loves me. I mean, obviously, it's nice to hear that you're loved, you know, but I don't need my partner to validate my value in the world. I don't need society to tell me that I'm worthy because I'm a size 0. I don't need my boss to constantly praise me. I show up fully, authentically.
Devoted and genuine.
Because of me.
Because
not
you
because of the others.
love doing what you're doing. Yeah.
Yes,
yeah. And then that will naturally come. And when it does come, it's like, perfect,
That's the beauty of it. The reason why I do what I do, and the reason why I wanted to be the self-worth coach was because when we are truly anchoring self-worth, we show up in the world badass.
Yeah.
I'm not thinking about the size of my thighs. I'm thinking about how the fuck am I going to change the world? How am I going to leave a legacy that is going to transform the way Latino women are viewed and are perceived in media, for example.
But that's when you're passionate about something, you do it wholeheartedly without expecting anything back.
But that's a lot of it's also worthiness and also privilege. Like you have 2 elements. You have the element of worthiness, of knowing that I am good at what I do because I do it with passion and commitment, and that if I need to grow, I will seek the tools because I'm humble. I'm humble enough to know that I show up fully. I do my best, and if I need to grow, I can grow. And then there's the privilege part, because obviously when we talk about worthiness, the way that we are viewing it, we're talking about from a place of obviously there's no lacking. You know, my from Maslow's pyramid, my needs are met, so I can go higher, right? But when I wanna bring worthiness to basically the collective, what I'm starting with is, if you were looking at yourself as a baby again, what would you tell yourself? You must have been a huge baby, right?
No.
Did you grow? Okay, whatever. But if you're looking at yourself as a baby...
Did I grow? Of course I grew.
No, but some kids are like born really tiny and then suddenly they're like... and they grow everywhere. Like I was tiny and I remained tiny. I never had a growth spurt.
I don't know how... I don't remember being...
A baby?
No, I mean, I do remember a few things. I'm not going to start remembering. Anyway.
So, worthiness is basically self-worth. Is basically the knowing that no matter where you are in your journey, no matter the hardship and the struggles that you're facing, no matter how difficult life could be or how bad you feel about your circumstances, you are worthy of connection, love, belonging, and joy.
And I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, because you probably know a bit more about this than me, but...
Most likely.
Yeah, thanks. Not necessarily. You'd be surprised. But no, I think also... it's connected to expectation as well. So I feel that depending on my expectations, if my expectations are too high and I can't fulfill those expectations, it has a knock-on effect on me, like my sort of, what's the word? Confidence, which is connected to self-worth, right? So,
but the expectations are again when you're hustling for self-worth, because when you are showing up fully, authentically, and full of worthiness, expectations are not there. You just show up. You can give.
But you need to get that break.
Yes, totally. Yeah.
To seek that break, in order to then show up unconditionally with no issues. It's trying to get that thing that you want to be doing, but you just can't get it. And then you get knocked back, and it's just like, okay, so either I'm not qualified, or I'm not the right fit, or my face doesn't fit, or this, or maybe I'm just rubbish, or maybe I'm not approaching it right, or blah blah blah. All of that starts having a knock-on effect on your confidence, and then you just think, well, in that case, I'm just not worthy. But If you see it the other way around, it's like, okay, well, we need somebody as qualified as me, or maybe they don't need somebody. You need to think about like what the other person is looking for.
But also,
and it might not. So you're not guaranteed.
Yeah.
Whenever you put your name forward for something, don't expect because you're really qualified.
But it's not entitlement. Worthiness is
That's
not
the word,
entitlement.
yeah.
It's to say, I'm gonna, for example, I'm gonna apply for the job, and if I don't get it, that's good. I'm okay.
Yeah. See,
I will try again, but I'm not gonna destroy myself in the process. You know, it's like, okay, you know, I do CrossFit, right? Like the world knows I do CrossFit. The games, I have some goals on the last ones, and my goals are basically, please don't go lower than you were before, and try to get try to remain in the top 100 for Venezuela. Like if you remain in the top 100, right? And at some point I actually went below. I eventually moved high up. When I went below, the default would be for me to say, because you're shit, you know, that's it, you're fat, you're always gonna be fat, you're not an athlete, what the hell do you think you're doing? You're 34 and you're all blah, 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 blah. The antidote, when I take it to a place of worthiness, if I say stop, I'm showing up.
This is what I was going to do. I was going to ask about this, yeah.
You're showing up. And showing up doesn't guarantee that I will get it. Showing up doesn't mean that I'm going to get the Academy Award or that Oprah is going to become my best friend. Showing up means that I'm saying I'm still safe within myself because I love myself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So let's say that you put your name forward for a job or for a promotion, and you don't get it, for you to say, and I'm still worthy. Yeah, I didn't get it, and maybe I will get it in the future, maybe no, I don't know. And I'm still worthy. For the people that are single, is to say, I went on a date, the guy never, or the girl never called me back, and I'm still worthy. And it will burn. Of course it will burn, but during the burn, you are not gonna make yourself sick with emotional distress by saying, of course he didn't call because you're ugly, or because you have acne, or because you're not good in bed, or because of you don't have money, or because of whatever. Yourself, because that's what we do. So worthiness is we say, oh, he or she didn't call, and that burns, and I'm still worthy, and I'm still lovable, and I still have lots to offer to the world, and I will be okay. So it is not good vibes only, positive psychology bullshit. I am always happy. Because that's unreal. It's saying, through pain, I'm not gonna put myself in suffering. So I mean, the things we want to talk about, the kind of struggles. Okay, we've discussed. We'll discuss all the struggles, and obviously there will be more.
There are more struggles, and we'll touch on them as we go.
Let's think about it. Like in our generation, people are struggling with obviously romantic love, with their relationship with their parents. Many are struggling with their own relationship as parents.
Professional struggles.
We're struggling for professional entrepreneurship, fertility. Many couples are struggling with worthiness around having babies, you know? Okay. Yeah, it's true.
In what way do you mean?
I cannot get pregnant because clearly there's something wrong with my body because of blah, 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 blah. Okay. Obviously there's the whole body image, aging, you know, keeping up, because we feel like the next generation is basically at our heels. And we still feel really young, but we're not.
I'm still really young.
We are super young. We have to be, like, you have to be young because I'm kind of like 5 months only younger than you. So we are super young.
Yeah, we're still young. I mean, I can hang out with
students in college.
That was a while ago.
That was 6 years ago.
I still get people tell me that they can't believe I'm not butter.
And on that note, on that daddy joke.
No, that's really bad. Anyway, I apologize.
So in the next episode, we're going to be talking about something that is also really important, which is success, worthiness, and burnout, particularly because I look like this right now. And then later on, we're going to keep on talking about relationships. We're going to talk about, we even say about, love and many other things.
The same stuff that we discussed in the intro. I mean, there's quite a few things. And
in episode Niente.
And they all... I need to Google that, but they all sort of overlap. So, but no, thank you for listening again. And we really hope you stay tuned with us for another episode of 𝗪𝐶𝐸, Gen 80s.
It's called Gen 80s
Gen
Talk.
80s, yeah, I know. Gen 80s Talks, yeah.
Okay, bye-bye.
Ciao, ciao.